Hello, friends. Welcome to this channel, Center of Excellence Pharma 4. In this podcast channel, we focus on two emerging technologies, digital transformation, and Pharma 4. Our objective is to discuss about the latest developments into the technologies, business challenges into pharma industry, and an objective how we can achieve Pharma 4 by using the latest emerging technologies. In this episode, my focus is a PharmaSync is a orchestrating a digitally unified supply chain. That is what is its objective. Before starting the thing, let me give you a brief introduction about our company, our focus, our passion. Dr. Jayant Joshi has designed a concept of Center of Excellence Pharma 4, where objective is adoption of emerging technologies like cloud, artificial intelligence, machine learning, IoT, blockchain, chatbot, and how these technologies can contribute in helping pharma industry to solve the business problems, help them to support to the challenges to achieve operational and business excellence. With this objective, we have a good knowledge base developed onto our website on Udemy platform where we have launched a course Smart Manufacturing in Pharma having about 20 modules covering emerging technologies and business challenges into pharma. Our YouTube channel was launched about 5 years back, which has got more than 360 videos, starting from the business strategies going up to the audits and validation. The podcast channel which you are listening right now, this is the 98th podcast into this particular series. I'm quite sure this channel is going to help you a lot in developing your personal career as well as contribute to the corporates where you are working. We have a book series where we already have published 8 books. The titles are also shown over here. These books are available on Amazon Kindle as well as on paperback. So let me start with our agenda today. I'm going to discuss about introduction, aligning digital transformation with enterprise-wise vision, where we are thinking about it, integrating demand planning, sales and operation planning, procurement planning, along with the digital supply chain management. We want to integrate the data and the processes to have a complete value chain. We want to leverage the advanced digital technologies which are really coming up, which I discussed in the start, ensuring interoperability and industry standards, building a collaborative ecosystem, prioritizing the supply chain visibility and resilience, embedded cybersecurity and data integrity, which is very important from the pharma industry point of view, sustain continuous improvements in achieving always better. Examples of holistic digitalization frameworks, key success factors, and finally to the conclusion. Well, my introduction, what I want to tell you is now we have to think about the integrated approach. We have to align the people, processes, and technology along with the regulatory framework, which, as an example, I always talk about it is the head, heart, and hands. They have to work together. So, earlier, when we were having an analog based system, this type of a integration or a holistic approach was not there, which is what it is expected now in a digital transformation, which will ensure the resilience, agility, transparency, and compliances. This is what it is the focus area. And we have to develop our vision, our focus into this particular direction because industry is becoming very complex. There are market challenges, there are regulatory challenges, and there are supply chain challenges. So we have to define this complexity with a higher resolution. Aligning the digital transformation with the enterprise-wise is a should be our vision. So we have to think about strategically. We have to integrate the supply chain digitalization with the organizational digital health strategy. We have to think about how healthy our organization is, how we are going to support to our patients, as customers and all, and where this IT roadmaps can help us, can align our vision, our strategies, our market requirements, our requirements into enterprise applications and all that sort of thing. And where our leadership will help in buying up, where we will be able to obtain the visibility commitment from the leadership. We have to support with an investment and a cross-functional collaboration, and we have to ensure the long-term transformation. When we talk about the digital transformation, it's not a 3 months, 6 months project. It's going to be 3 years, 5 years projects or all that. That should be our vision. So these are the things which you have to think about it. This will lead to end-to-end integration. It should be a organization of the information flow, which will integrate the procurement, production, warehouse, logistics, dispensing, and finally leading to the financials also. We have to break down the silos. As I mentioned earlier, we had analog systems which were silos based. No, they were focusing on to a specific department. It could be procurement, quality, manufacturing, logistics, distribution, something like that. We have to forget about all those silos. We have to integrate all those. It's as I mentioned into the last slide, it has to have a cross-functional collaboration, with from end-to-end system integrations and all that. And that is where adopting a interoperability digital platforms is an essential thing. And that will enable the real-time data sharing across the organization, across all the stakeholders, which is what is it most important. And this is what requires a holistic control strategy. As I was mentioning earlier, also it's a people, processes, and technology. So you have to leverage quality to think about life sciences, and you have to integrate that with the decision making. So when I say a pharmaceutical quality system, which is most important thing from the pharma industry point of view, so it should utilize to ensure that the product quality and compliances together. We have to implement to streamline all the processes. Again, I'm coming back to it. It's basically starting from demand planning, demand forecasting, going up to the final delivery of the product to the patient, to the customers and all. And that will help to streamline the processes and improve the efficiency and all that sort of thing. It also must take into consideration the risk-based approaches to manage the data throughout the product life cycle and all. And it should use the data management. It should have that data integrity. It should identify those potential risks into the entire operation, possible disruptions and all everything, to have a seamless data sharing across all the stakeholders and all that sort of thing. So your strategic decisions will depend upon the data which is really available. So you have to develop a digital system which will be a data driven decision making. Actually, that is what is the objective of the systems, which will have a holistic approach and all that sort of thing. Now, to support to this holistic systems, we have to really take into consideration what are the digital technologies which are really coming up. So some of those key digital technologies are mentioned over here. One is, of course, IoT and real-time data monitoring. So we have to deploy those IoT sensors for end-to-end visibility. It could be at a store, it could be at a manufacturing site, it may be at a plant maintenance, it may be into the warehouse, or it may be into the cold chain product transportation also. No? So tracking the inventory, tracking the temperature, tracking the logistic into the real time is should be our focus by using the IoT and a real time monitoring. With this data capturing, we have to really move to artificial intelligence and advanced analytics. Now, this data, along with the AI, will also help in better demand forecasting, better inventory optimization. Now, since all this data is getting captured, you know a product batch and stage wise what is the inventory over there. So inventory optimization is becoming more important because you don't want to keep a high inventory, you don't want to cut down the inventory so that you can face the problems into the market. So managing that inventory optimization is the most important thing. So you have to reduce the stockouts, at the same time you don't want to have a overstock situations also, and this will get integrated with the blockchain. So integrating blockchain will have a secure documentation, and you will have a continuous transparent data available to you, and which is a tamper-proof product data actually. And then this will also maintain the transactions, compliances data, and everything into that. Another regulatory requirement which is now required by the regulatory authorities is a track and trace systems. So you have to have a serialization and track and trace, which is where your blockchain will help. No, you have to have a DSC, there is a data about safety and security and everything is really required. So that supply chain system data will be available. And now there are some EU requirements also which will be coming up that will be monitored by the digital systems and all that. We have to also adopt to the open standards. Now there are interoperability across various partners. No? Into the entire system, we have a system which is going to get integrated at the transport level, at a various contract manufacturer level, at a suppliers level and all that. So we have to have a open standards. Only in that case it will be a better automation of data sharing and all that. So that is where I have mentioned it, that enable the seamless data exchange. This is what is more important. And some of the global standards like ISO and GSI 1 is really going to get supported and all. So this is what really we have to keep it in mind. And as I was talking, we have to have a collaborative ecosystems. No, as I was mentioning, there are different stakeholders are there. So we have to have those partnerships. Partnerships along with the manufacturer, with the suppliers, with the distributors, with the pharmacies. Everyone should be on the same wavelength. So we should be able to have a seamless data sharing along with the complex network and all that. And digital platforms will really help in building up that real-time data information and sharing and all that. So that is what should be our objective. And this is where we will help in a joint risk management and all that. Change management is another factor which have to be considered. We have to invest into the strategies to engage all these stakeholders to have onto the same platform, where a seamless data sharing will be easily possible, which will lead to better performance and all that. So that is what should be our objective. It should also prioritize the supply chain visibility and resilience. So you will have a command centers and dashboards, where a quick data-driven decision making will be helpful. Now, dashboard may be for the supplier's performance, it may be at an inventory level, it may be about the possibility of predicting any risk factors or any distribution, distribution or destructions or all those things. And another new technology which is really coming up is the digital things also should get integrated, which will also help in supply chain visibility and help in optimizing the processes virtually. So these are the things which are now catching up from the emerging technologies point of view. Now, this again about the cybersecurity and data integrity, I wanted to give you a few minutes. Embedded cybersecurity is very important at every layer. As we discussed, we are now adopting IoT, that is the Internet of Things, which will be at a device level security. Then we will have a network level security and we will have a application level security. All these securities are very important because regulatory requirement, there are certain uh, specific requirements for 21 CFR Part 11. At the same time, from the organization point of view, since it's a very sensitive data about your products, about your specifications, about your processes, about your formulas and everything, we have to monitor this. And another thing is the data integrity. If you are going to store the various details into various silos, then it's of no use. So we need to have a data integrity also. So regulatory requirements, various security measures should also be a very important parameter to monitor those systems and design them. Another thing is the continuous improvement. See, as I mentioned earlier, this is not a some 3 months, 6 months project. It's going to be a continuous project. So digital transformation, as it will go on building up the data, this real-time data utilization will help to apply it for a innovation. So ongoing process optimization should lead to improvements into the system, which needs a continuous follow-up, continuous monitoring, continuous improvements and all that, I think. And that will help in improving the digital supply chain performance. Finally, we have to really see that our customer, that's the patient, will get a right product, right quality at right time at the right price, and also this is what should be our focus area, and that is where the continuous improvements are required actually. So just to summarize, I have drawn a table to show you what should be our pillar, what will be the action area, and how digital enable will help us and all that. So the first and most important thing, as was discussing, is about the integration. So data and processes needs to be harmonized, and it should be interoperability should be there, and a cloud platform and the APIs which we will build up of connecting the various applications will be able to help onto this thing. The next pillar is about the visibility and analytics. So we need to have a end-to-end monitoring and predictive insights and IoTs and AI and the dashboards which I mentioned about showing your KPIs and all various process parameters which you want to monitor will be helpful and all that. The third comes to collaboration. Collaboration with the different stakeholders. As I mentioned, it to stakeholders is like you may have a distributor, you may have a transporter, you may have a supplier, you may have a contract manufacturer. So all this needs to have that connectivity. So you have to build up a partnership into this particular ecosystem to build those collaborative platforms and all. Then comes the traceability and the trust. The product provenance and compliances by using the blockchain and serialization will help to build up those traceability. Then comes the cybersecurity, the protection of the data, risk management, data integrity will have the zero trust with the complete entire stakeholder systems and all. And the data encryption is the most important thing. And finally, coming to the cultural change, we have to upskill the present skills for the new technologies, new culture, and everything. They have to change their mindset. They have to adapt to this new technologies. So you will have a learning and development platforms. You may have a playbooks to be designed to support to this particular requirements and all. So finally, let's look at it. What should be our key success factors? Most important thing is you should have a very clear digital roadmap that, which will align to the organization and regulatory priorities. We have to have a technology infrastructure, the hardware, the software, the data upgrade into the new technology systems and all that. Then we have to also keep it in mind about the risk management, the advanced analytics and everything. And finally, the involvement of all those stakeholders into the engagement of upgrading this entire systems and all that. So finally, coming to a conclusion, I've mentioned some of those parameters which I want to repeat it again over here. One is most important is about the regulatory compliances which you have to keep it in mind. Second is operational excellence, along with the complete digital supply chain management. Think about it, innovation. It should not be like that you are still using the yesterday's technology and want to move to tomorrow's methods and improvements and expectations of the customer. You have to continuously go on improving, innovating, come out with the new ideas, new technologies, and all that. So that is what is most important thing. Keep it flexible. It should be easily possible to adapt to the new changes. And finally, we should have a patient centric value, patient focus, patient centricity, which is what's more important. So we have already discussed more into the details at various other platforms also. I again suggest you, I again request all of you to have a look at it, those platforms also. I'm quite sure you will get a lot of more inputs onto those platforms. Do share with your network. Please subscribe these channels onto various platforms. In case if you have any suggestions, please write to us. Okay. Thank you. Bye.